Starting a new video today. We're working on the minivan, one of the minivans. They both have identical problems. We've got rust down here in the wheel well, and that looks like it's going to be all the way through the metal. So, and we got a scratch or so right up there. So we got some damage, and I'm getting lazy in my old age. Instead of making my own patch panels, I bought some. And if you notice, I've got two identical panels there. It's not that I need two to get this job done. I've got two vans and they both have the same rust issue. So this is van number one, and when I'm done, I get to do van number two. So that patch panel will go right in there. Whoops. Will go right in there. So today, I get to start. And the first trick, which is probably one of the bigger jobs, I've got to pull this cladding off the bottom. I have absolutely no idea how to get that off. So I'm going to start with that. And I've got a full cup of coffee and I've got my Spotify. So we'll put some tunes on and we're going to start tearing this thing down. I'm working on getting this rocker cover off, and it is a pita. But I want to show you how to get this thing off. There are clips that go into these holes, and you can see them. They're molded onto the rocker right there. You see they have a tab on them. So you've got to get a flat piece between this trim and the body, and just so you can see a gap. And then you go in with a little screwdriver. I'm sorry, this thing's hard to focus. And you just push gently down on that tab and it'll pop out. And we're going to try one up here. I've got most of them off. So I've got a trim removal tool right here. This is probably going to be a doggone tricky thing to see. Let me get some more light going. And if you look right down there, see it hanging right in this area? You can just see it. And what I do is I pull this back, and this is a four-handed job. This ain't looking good. It is right there. So I'm trying to focus this and shine the doggone light. There it is. You see the outline of it right there. And then I just take a little screwdriver. I'm going to set the phone down. Hang on. Okay, I'm going to try this one-handed. Hopefully I don't break anything. But there we go. It just pops, and then out it comes. And I think I got one more down there. So the trick is just to get a tool in here and just get, you can slide it down till you hit the clip. And just get a little gap so you can see what's going on. And then you can just reach this guy inside here and push this tab down. And just with a little tugging, you can pull that out, and pretty soon it's coming loose. The clips on the bottom are super easy. They're just little tapered cones. You put a standard trim removal tool in there, and they just come right out. In fact, you go in from the bottom, but you just squeeze it from the side, and they pop right out. That was 2 minutes. This has taken me about 15-20 minutes to get this off. So I got one more, and then we will have that trim off. You could probably leave it like that and get the job done, but you can see why I needed to do that. This rust, I've already started poking on it. It's all the way through. It's down into here, and it's around on the back side. So my little patch panel going to fix a lot of rust. So fix it before it looks bad. So one more clip, we'll have this rocker trim off. So this is bubbling pretty good. Look at that. By the time you see that much bubbling, look what's behind it. So yeah, that was looking pretty nasty. So I think we'll get a cutoff wheel going, start drilling out some spot welds. We'll have to see how high I want to go with this. Like I say, I've got a little scuff right there. Be nice if I could tuck it in underneath this line, because then I could just go straight across and that'd be easy to blend in. I mean, my patch goes way up there, so I've got the ability. I think what I'm going to do is cut it off short here and just under this line, and we'll see what we got. And if it's still looking nasty, we'll start cutting into there, because we certainly have the patch to do it. And of course, I'll take out all this down here. So let's get the cutoff wheel going. Where the heck is that? Gosh, I got junk everywhere. So we'll fire up the old cutoff wheel and we'll start zipping it. So I've been cutting around the perimeter and trimmed it just below this line and left it shy of that line. And I got the spot welds ground out. And now we can start pulling it out. I think there's most of our problem. This foam is really great as attracting moisture and trapping it. And I think that's why I got my rust issue here. But it looks like, other than the foam, I'm pretty solid up into there. And I'm solid on both edges down here. So I'm going to finish cutting this out at the bottom. And then I'm going to rip all this foam out of there. And we'll start cleaning things up and see if we need to go higher or not. But off to a good start. Drilled out a couple spot welds on the bottom. So we got this off now. So you can kind of see where that rust was hiding back there. So now we're cleaning up some of the seam sealer underneath. And I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all this stuff and dig up as far as I can to get as much of that out of there. So we'll see what it looks like after that's all gone. Okay, got a lot of that foam out of there and dug in pretty deep. Fortunately, there was no foam up in here, which is probably why that's still solid. So I think I've got good metal on this edge and this edge. As I crawl underneath, put a little light on there, I've got some work to do down here. You can see it's a little thin right here, and this piece that the bracket's attached to is a little loose. So I'll cut that out. That's nice and flat. Just cut out a square. I've got bulk metal. I'll weld in a piece there. And then that'll give me solid metal, especially right here, to weld the patch panel onto. But the structure behind it's all good, so that's a plus. So we'll do a little more cleanup, and then we'll start cutting out the rust on the bottom. We got things cleaned up, got the foam out of there, got things tidied up, got all the thin metal out. I've got to do a little work down here. That's a drain hole there. There's a plug that went in there. I'm going to make a patch piece for down there, weld it in. And then for out here, I've taken, that's what I cut out. And that's my patch panel. So you see how those went together. So the rust is gone, and then this piece will fit like that. And then I'll have to weld that in, grind it, maybe a skim coat of filler on that. So, but now the next step is to fabricate that bottom piece, weld it in, and then this will go on top of it. And then we'll have her back nice and solid. Giving everything a final clean, and now I've just treated everything with 415 just to make sure that we don't get any future rust. So I've got a coating of silver. I usually use black. I just happen to have a can of silver and never see this area again. So everything's coated. We're going to let it dry. Then I'll probably put the bottom piece in, tack it, put the front piece in, tack it, and then we'll go back and do our final welds. So getting close. All right, so we got a panel put in the bottom. That's nice and solid again. And we got our patch panel trimmed to the top side. Plug welded the wheel well. Then we tacked it and then came back and filled in between the tacks. So we got that looking pretty good. I still got to do a little bit of fitment. I'll tack that and I'll tighten that up. And then I get to hit it with seam sealer. Because there's like a, let's see if I get my flashlight out. You can see a little gap right in there. We'll seam seal it, seam seal the edges. And then we'll start doing a little bit of finished body work on it. But this is pretty doggone close. I may just have to just touch these edges with a little spot filler. The rest of it's pretty good. So nice to have that That's what it used to look like. So from that to that. So we got the welding done, got some grinding done, ground down the seams, got that bottom portion done. Got that looking pretty good. So now we are down to solid metal. Time for a little bit of body filler just to tidy up those seams. Then we'll start priming and painting. Got just a light skim coat of filler to catch the seams. Sanded everything down. Ready for some primer. Now I am wimping out. I'm not fixing this, mainly because my paint match may not be that great, and I'd rather stop it right about there. So I'm just leaving that. But ready to throw primer on. And a little bit of primer. Let that dry, and we'll throw some color on it. Getting the first coat of color on it. And as I said, I'm wimping out. I'm not fixing that up there. Just didn't want to have to blend the paint all the way up there. So we'll let this dry for about 15 minutes. We'll put a second coat on. There's the second coat of color, and I'm going to let that sit for a bit, and then I'll shoot some clear. So we've got the paint work done on this, and it came out looking nice, color matched. Got the trim back on. Of course, as I said at the beginning, I wasn't going to redo that scuff mark, so I didn't want to have to blend the paint in up there. But we got all the rust work done. It looks good. So now I get to do it all over again, because I have two identical vans, same color, and guess what? They've got identical rust problems. So today I'm going to pull this one in the garage, start cutting this out, take this trim off, and do it all over again. So fun day.